Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Pask, and I'm here representing Vancouver, BC as part of the Vancouver Public Space Network. The VPSN was founded back in 2006, really as a grassroots initiative. We started as a good kitchen table organization, bringing together people that were interested in community gardening, a bit of billboard advocacy or activism, public art, an array of things. And we realized that public space and placemaking really gave us a wonderful thread to tie together a number of different initiatives and groups and community activities. One of the things that really surprised us off the bat is how this resonated with people. I'm sure this is no surprise to anyone here, but public space and placemaking really struck a chord with folks, and we began to get all sorts of interesting things off the ground very, very quickly. So quickly, in fact, that it wasn't very long before members of council and members of political parties in the city began to ask us for help in crafting policy and directions for them. And we thought this was a very, very interesting and somewhat seductive, to use some language from this morning, offer. But we decided that we also wanted to be a very, very non-partisan organization, and then that was really the best tact for us. Because one of the things, as a side note, that is, I think, most dangerous to the placemaking movement is if it does begin to get marginalized under the banner of partisan politics. And so we thought, heading into the election cycle that we were that year, 2008, why don't we actually make something that every party and every politician could have access to and use if they wanted to? And so we thought, a manifesto. I know, you're thinking, who writes manifestos in this day and age? Cranky despots, tortured artists, and now placemaking advocate organizations. But we thought the term actually had a little bit of edge and grit to it, and kind of did in a very succinct fashion the job of laying out the fact that we had some ideas, some positions to advance, some things that we wanted to get onto the agenda there. And so what we did is we built this manifesto. We crowdsourced all of the ideas from our membership. We talked to experts, and we laid out something that had some clear sets of principles, some goals around public space in Vancouver, some strategies and actions, and also, most importantly, some means to implement them that would be evidence-based, as they were, really solutions-focused, because we wanted to make sure that the discourse was always a positive one, because placemaking really ought to be the sort of thing that reaches across all sorts of different disciplines and boundaries. And we also wanted to try and make sure that it was not to get too academic with the term here, but really enabling of different discourses. It was something that was a bit of a discursive exercise, in that we wanted to be able to speak the language of public health to the people that were interested in health issues. We wanted to be able to bring in the language of local economy and business to the people whose main focus was that, and so on and so forth. And so the surprising thing was that this actually worked quite well. We produced this one document. We had politicians standing up during the election and going, wow, yeah, this. And it really seemed to resonate and carry on the message there. We got a lot of traction. We got a lot of awareness. And what it did was it planted seeds across the spectrum, across the political spectrum. It raised public awareness because it was written in a way that really worked well for the broad public. And it positioned a lot of the placemaking public space issues in a fashion that was non-positional in a political sense, something that could relate to the work that everyone is engaged in. So if there were lessons that came out of this, I guess the first one for us is that it worked so well we did it again 3 years later with the election cycle. We're doing another one this year with the 2014 election that's taking place in Vancouver. But the lessons really were three or fourfold. One, we wrote it in a way that positioned placemaking in that larger discourse so that there was something for everyone in there. Second was that it really was written in a way that spoke to the right policy level. So we gave broad goals and principles, because that's important. You really do want that emotional resonance. But we also gave stuff that was a little bit more granular, a little bit more on the ground, something that was achievable in a temporal sense within the 3 to 4 year election cycle, because that was really the way that we wanted to frame it there, something that could actually be done within the course of a political cycle. We also grounded it within not only the city as a whole, but also neighborhoods, because as one of the last speakers pointed out, that really is the place where a lot of people relate to their city most. A couple of the other benefits, it gave us some organizational clarity for our own work, which was really key, and it also spun off in ways that we didn't totally anticipate. as in the local art gallery suddenly took the manifesto, printed it on broadsheets, and put it around the city for us as part of a project on city building that they were doing. That was kind of a nice surprise. It does, however, point to some additional work that needs to be done, as there is always in this case. It worked really well in giving something to the policymakers and to the bureaucrats to work on. What we need to do more in our manifestos and our own activities is also figure out a way to build in the activities for everyone else, because this is obviously a movement that is as much about community as it is people in decision-making power holding the levers of authority. So thank you very much.